Hello! Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of the article by Olivia Julius.
Chapter 1 The Log Cabin. Alex and his fiancée Elizabeth drove up to the almost abandoned-looking log cabin that sat overlooking Willie Lake, a lake that is close to where Alex grew up. Alex has not been there since he graduated from high school 10 years ago. His parents moved farther south right after he left for college. Elizabeth got out of the car first and looked around. She was wearing a pink spaghetti strap sundress that barely went down to her knees, a pair of brown sandals, and a white wide-brimmed sun hat that she had found at a gas station and just had to have it. "So, this is the famous Willie Lake you keep telling me about?" she asked, looking around at the overgrown trees, the picnic table that looked to be about half rotted, and the cabin that has diffidently seen better days. Alex, who had been only wearing a light gray t-shirt and a pair of blue jean shorts, joined her by her side. He winced a little once he took in the fully neglected cabin. "Yeah, this place was better attended to 10 years ago," Alex admitted. "Well, I actually think this is a pretty cute place," Elizabeth said. She reached into her bag through the open car window and pulled out her digital camera. Elizabeth is a photographer. For the past 5 years she has worked at a small magazine that showcases different places to travel to around the world. Generally, she takes photos of landscapes and animals in faraway lands, but this time she convinced her editor to give her the money to go on a 3-day weekend to a lake of her choosing so she could take pictures of a family having fun on a lake. This special allowance was partly as a wedding gift from the magazine and partly a way to make sure that she stays with the magazine. Convincing her, soon-to-be husband, to go to the lake that he had bountiful memories of wasn't hard. However, finding a family that would be willing to spend 3 days at the lake, all expenses paid, and have their photos put into a national magazine was surprisingly pretty hard. The town that Alex had grown up in was slowly dying. Most of his friends growing up had moved to the big city. Hell, even the house he grew up in was torn down and a small trucking company's big rigs are now parked on top of it. After high school, Alex went on to the State University. He studied media communications and graduated with a master's degree. H's first job was at the magazine where Elizabeth was already working. Alex worked hard as a low-level writer up until one day he was given his lucky break. That's where they met. One day the two were assigned to go on a trip to Africa. Elizabeth as the photographer and Alex as the journalist. His assignment was to interview a local tour guide and give the readers the inside scope on what it's really like to visit. Over the trip, Alex and Elizabeth became closer together, and after that, the magazine saw their chemistry and started putting them on more and more assignments together. It wasn't surprising when a year later the two announced their engagement. Knowing Elizabeth was a nature girl, Alex begged the magazine to get them an assignment to the Grand Canyon. The magazine agreed that the next week Alex knelt on the rocky bottom of the canyon and asked Elizabeth to marry him. She of course said yes. Now, Elizabeth thought that this trip to Willie Lake was going to be a flop. 2 weeks before the trip there still wasn't anyone to volunteer to help their family to be featured in the magazine. But then one night while they were planning what they were going to do, Alex gave her an idea. What if they were kids? What if they were kids again and Elizabeth's older brother and Alex's younger sister played the parents? This would give Elizabeth a new twist to the article, letting reader read the trip from more of a kid's point of view. Alex only said this as a joke. He had only just found out that his soon-to-be wife was capable of magic the week prior. But the idea took to Elizabeth like wildfire. The next few days she looked up a potion in her grandmother's old potions journals. She told her plans to her brother Ethan, and convinced her soon-to-be sister-in-law Laura to come too. At first, they were both hesitant. For this trip to work they would have to act like a married couple while also acting like the parents to their respective siblings, siblings who were going to be transformed into kids using their DNA. It was a big ask, but surprisingly both eventually agreed. After weeks of planning, they were finally here. They were finally ready.